All right, so let's predict a team with Jordan De Goey and Lockie Schultz out this week. That means there's an opportunity for some players in the VFL who are desperate to have an opportunity. Oleg Markov was one who was destined to start in place of Dan Houston. We haven't even mentioned the fact that Dan Houston has accepted his 2-game suspension. So there will be 3 changes, guys, that will need to be made. So I'm going to roll through this and we'll do this collaboratively. I imagine the first 23 that we set together won't be the final one because we may or may not factor in one player or the other. But let's start with some obvious ones. So let's go Darcy Moore at fullback, who's been in elite form and seems to be getting inches and inches closer to that All-Australian form in 2023. And that has been with some great thanks to Billy Frampton, who had an unbelievable game against Carlton and was you barely could fault him besides maybe a couple of ground ball efforts in the first quarter. But beyond that, he was unbelievable, and Darcy Moore thanks him dearly. Back pocket, let's go Isaac Quaynor. Now, this man only had 5 touches on Thursday against Carlton, but you best believe his ability to pressure at ground level and never lose a contest in dispute and delay the transition. There were times where Carlton looked like they were out on the wing. Isaac Quaynor was one of those players who was always there, ready to fight tooth and nail to ensure that they wouldn't get that transition, which they've struggled. Carlton have been struggling with for the entirety of this season, really. Let's go Jeremy Howe here. He's been in absolute elite form as well. So it's really nice. Isn't it ironic that once we get our forward half game right and we're able to retain the ball, we think we had 70% possession in our forward half against Carlton, all our defenders tend to thrive. So just keep that in mind, guys. Now, let's go Josh Dacos here. I think that's an obvious one. Digsby says, how back pocket in? Ed Allen should come in, says Chris Talbot. We'll work with it. We'll work with it. Keep them coming, guys. So I was thinking Perryman here, but I think he was too good in the midfield. And with Jordan De Goey's absence, I think Perryman might even see more midfield time. He probably had 50% midfield time against Carlton. That might even bump up to 70%. So who goes here? Mind you, the carryovers from yesterday against Coburg, Ed Allen and Will Hoskin Elliott did not play the full game, knowing that on Friday they would have, between Sunday and Friday, they'd have a 5-day turnaround. So I'm going to start with Will Hoskin Elliott here. I'm not saying this is a certainty, but we'll put that there as a tentative lock for now, and then we can go from there. Brazzy Maynard will be there. I'll put him on the bench now so I don't forget him. Don't worry too much about the bench, who starts there and who doesn't. It's just more we'll sort of just see how it goes there. Wing, I think Lipinski's been really good. The footy was definitely on his side a lot more against Carlton. I'm just really liking his ability to link and connect and then also find something inside 50. Let's go Perryman in the middle. I thought he was outstanding, kicking his first goal for the club. And yeah, his pressure and ability just to win the ball and throw it forward was a real key to victory against Carlton. On the other wing, well, this has been a lock for the longest time now. Jack Crisp, right? Jack Crisp. So there's a few. Lipper was good. Sullivan, or at least an emergency. Sullivan was very impressive. Was probably the most consistent player against Coburg yesterday. Not sure if he fits this team just yet, but we'll keep working through it. High half forward. Let's go Bo McCreary. And in Lockie Schultz's absence, this man has a massive role. He's been a little bit underwhelming this year. His pressure is still his pressure, but can he find a goal or two and have his 6 or 7 tackles against Carlton? That would be absolutely massive. And then my check, centre half forward, he had an almost game, similar to McStay last week or against Footscray. He had 5 shots on target, did not register a single goal, 3 behinds and 2 shots that did not register. The other high half forward. Now, this is where it gets interesting, guys. What are we saying? This is where I need some contribution here. So we've got Jordan De Goey out, Dan Houston out, Lockie Schultz out. Does that mean, I'm just looking through the list. Who is in consideration now? Would you say a Finlay McRae? Finlay McRae has played high half forward last year. He had 23 touches yesterday and 2 goals. We got to bear in mind this needs to be a general forward. Like, moving on. So no Finlay. Okay. So then are we looking at a Will Hayes potentially? Or is that too early? I think that's too early. He had 9 touches, had a goal, played well against Sydney in the first VFL game. What are we saying here, guys? I think your computer must be busted as you had Finlay in. No Will Hayes. All right, let's leave. This is tough, guys. This is really tough, I'll be honest. Look, I'm going to leave McRae here just for a moment, and then we'll come back to this because there'll be some easier alternatives here. Bobby Hill in the forward pocket. He needs to lift as well. He's been really, really quiet. Like I said, Lockie Schultz and Jamie Elliott and Bo McCrew have had more moments than Bobby. I think it's time for Bobby Hill to sort of step up in this situation. Other forward pocket is Elliott. And then full forward will be McStay. Okay. Surely give West a crack. We're going to look to try and fit him in. Give me one moment. Work with me, guys. DC, who's just taken the mantle as the best ruckman in the league right now after beating TDK. And then in the midfield, we'll go Steele Sidebottom and Nick Dacos. And then I think still Scott Pendlebury can come off the bench. That's not too much of a concern there. Who else have we got here? Tim Membry. And then I think Ned Long will get a start. And I think Ed Allen will be a sub. As I mentioned, he came off early along with Will Hoskin-Elliott in the VFL. So I think someone like Ed Allen will be just makes most sense to put him as a sub. Now, just looking at the comments, what I might be thinking here is, what do we think about TJ, who was really impressive? He's actually been in emergencies a couple times this year. TJ here, and then instead of Finlay McRae, we can do a Hoskin-Elliott. How do we feel about that? I think that makes a lot more sense. Is that Darcy Moore, Isaac Quaynor, Howe, Dacos, Frampton, TJ, Lipper, Pez, Jack Crisp, Bo, Brody, Hoskin-Elliott, Bobby Hill, Jamie Elliott, Dan McStay, DC, Steele, Nick Dacos, Braden Maynard, Scott Pendlebury, Tim Membry, Ned Long. TJ Parker and Ryan looked average. That's what I'm saying. I don't think either of those lads are quite ready. I think, yeah, okay. So Markov played on the wing, but we know he can do a job here. So maybe, and we know Fly has his favorites, and we know Fly prefers experience. Let's go Oleg Markov. And here, who are we going to put here? We'll leave Hoskin-Elliott there. Is there room? I don't think there's room for Charlie West just yet. Now, he did play a lesser side in the Coburg Lions. They're usually a bottom four side in the VFL, but the way he performed is the way he performed. Doesn't matter who he's up against. He's a young budding player who dominated in the contested aerial battles. 5 contested marks is monstrous. Like, that is absolutely massive. What are we saying? What are we saying here? So you can't take out Tim Membry. And you can't take out, yeah, I don't think Charlie West makes it. But then the other hypothetical is here, you go Sullivan. You could do this. Sullivan was stiff to be dropped after that game against Port Adelaide. So then you go here. Lockie Sullivan, and he can play that forward role. He does have that versatility. And then maybe you go Will Hoskin-Elliott here. I think I'm going to settle with this. How do we feel about that? Markov bench. So you could either go Ed Allen or Ned Long, Ed Allen or Markov as the sub as well. Right now, we don't have the option here, but Ed Allen is our sub. I'm pretty happy with that, if I'm being honest. Raz, Pendles, Membry, Ned Long. Charlie West comes in if McStay, Myerchuk, or Membry out. Yeah, that's if they are unavailable for whatever reason. Dan Houston's going to be one to miss. I just don't think we can. I don't know if Ryan, Parker, or TJ are there just yet. I think with Will Hoskin-Elliott, at least We know he'll defensively do the job. He's not foreign to this role. He's played everywhere on the field. He's an okay ball user. Depends sort of what sort of confidence he's working with at the moment. He kicked 2 goals or kicked 1 goal on the weekend, and was sort of, I can't remember. I think he played on both sides of the field, but he did kick a goal and had 12 odd touches. Josh Dacos is going to require to have a massive monster game. So interesting.